everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Helen and today I thought I'd have a go at the end of year book tag. Chloe from Chloe Reads kindly tagged me in that. I think it was this morning, and I just noticed it and listened to it and thought, yeah, those questions sound interesting, so I'll give that a go. So thank you, Chloe, for tagging me. Excuse the fact that I'm in my pudsey pyjamas still. Normally on this Saturday I would be in work, however because of COVID and the library being shut to the public, as long as I work my hours in the rest of the week I don't have to work on a Saturday, so I'm making the most of it and having a nice chill out in my pyjamas. So yeah, I might as well start. The first question is, are there any books that you have started this year and need to finish? Yes, I have slowly been making my way through the audiobook of Troubled Blood by, I'm going to say, Cormoran Strike. I'm not going to mention the author. Once I have finished this book, I will not be rating it on Goodreads, I'll just be ticking it that I've read. I did think a lot about carrying on with this series, whether to carry on with it or not, but I am invested in the characters and I want to see what happens. I enjoy watching the BBC adaptation, so I've decided to continue with it. I only get to listen to this audiobook when I'm travelling back and to from work. It was a 36-hour audiobook and my commute is like 25 minutes each way, so it's taken me a while. I've got 3 hours left, so hopefully I should have that finished by mid next week. So yeah, so that's the one that I'm in the middle of that I need to finish by the end of the year. Question 2. Are there any autumnal books that you're going to read that will transition you into the end of the year? I am taking part in Gilmorathon, which actually starts tomorrow, and one of those is an autumnal book. Let me find it. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It feels, well, it's wintry, but it feels seasonal, so I am going for that one. That is for, like I said, Gilmorathon, but also the Winter Night trilogy read along. Is that what this one's? Does that sound right? Winter Night? I think so. Anyway, it's from Megan the Books, so I'll link her channel below, but I'm killing two birds with one stone with this one. So there's that one. So that's like transitioning me into winter, but then I've got winter reads like Miracle on Ebenezer Street, and then I've got other ones that I'm trying to include in my December TBR, so I'll talk about them in another video. So there's that one. Question 3. Are there any new releases that you're still waiting for? Not for the end of the year, I don't think. I think I've had all the ones for this year, but I have got some pre-orders ready for next year. So the Talia Hibbert Eve Brown book, I've got that one on order, and The Tangle of Spells by Michelle Harrison, I have got that on order as well. I think those are the main two, but I haven't got any for the end of the year, I don't think. If I find out later that I have, I'll just include it in a vlog or something. Question 4. Name 3 books that you want to read by the end of the year. Sorry, my notes are down here. So 3 books. I have thought about this. I hope I do get these read. One of them in particular I've had on my list for a while and I just haven't got around to it. A Year of Simple Living, of Living Simply by Kate Humboldt. The Joys of a Life Less Complicated. I read her book. What's the title of the other one? I can't remember the name of it. I won it in a competition on Twitter and I loved it, and I've kept it because she does a particular walk, I want to say in Wales. Can I remember the name of it? No. But it's a walk that it's a long distance and you camp at different stops along the way, like rough camping, and I really want to give it a go. Because I struggle with anxiety and things, I think if I complete it, it could feel really amazing. So I want to read. I've read that one, really enjoyed it. This one sounded really good because it's something that I hope to achieve in life. Minimalism is something I read into a lot. I'm quite a hoarder and keep a lot of mementos, so I wouldn't want to go totally minimalist where you get rid of everything. But I think this could include a lot of that. It said this isn't about living a life of penury, devoid of joy or fun. Quite the opposite. It's about finding or rediscovering the aspects of life that really matter and having time to value and enjoy them. It is a search for simplicity and the contentment that goes with it. So definitely want to read this by the end of the year. The next one is Featherhood by Charlie Gilmore. I mentioned this in a vlog recently. My dad mentioned that he'd seen it talked about on the One Show and that Elton John was a massive fan of this book and he'd really raved about it. It's basically about a couple who rescue an injured magpie, and they end up almost keeping it as a pet because it doesn't want to leave. So I really want to read this and let my dad know whether I enjoyed it or not. I definitely think I will. And who knows, maybe I can persuade my dad to read it. He's a bit like Andy. Reading isn't his hobby. But I think if I said I really love this and because he'd recommended it, he might try it out. So that's definitely what I want to do. And the other one is Lessons I've Learned, A Dell of a Life by David Jason. Oh, I love this man. I grew up on Only Fools and Horses because my dad was a massive fan. And so when people talk about national treasures, he is one of those. He has aspects, characteristics that remind me of my dad. Not the wheeler dealer wide boy kind of thing, but there's just some of his facial expressions and things that just remind me of my dad. So I've got a real affinity with Del Boy. In particular David Jason. I would love to meet him one day. I don't think that will ever be possible, but this is just a book I really want to read, and I am considering getting my dad a copy and we can buddy read it together because yeah, we're both big fans, so I really wanted to get that one read. So those are the 3 books that I want to read by the end of the year. Whether I can, I don't know. I know I'm reading quite fast through my Believathon books at the minute. I've read 10 books in 14 days. So if I can get through my Believathon books, I might try and slip some of those in, because December I've already started planning out my TBR and I don't think I can fit much more in, but we'll see. Are there any books that you think will still shock you and become your favourite of the year? I know that can happen because I have just read Inside Out and Back Again by Thana Leigh. This was one that was recommended to me through mytbr.co. That's a subscription. Well, I'll say, yeah, it is a subscription. Basically, I pay for every 3 months some professional book recommenders. I don't know what the job title is, but basically they recommend me 3 books every 3 months that they think I'll like based on reading through my Goodreads and any kind of comments I've made about books I've liked in the past and books that I've not liked. I have done it for 2 months. They've given me 2 lots of recommendations so far, and out of 6 I've read 2. That's just my bad because I just haven't got through the other ones. But the first book that I managed to read was one of the Cop series by Amy Stewart, I think her name was. Loved that, gave it 4 stars. This is the next one that I've managed to read, and I gave it 5 stars. It's a middle grade. It's told in verse. There's not much on each page. I've never read a book in verse. It kind of put me off and I kept putting it off, but it's not like I expected it to be. It's basically about a girl who leaves Vietnam with her family during the war and telling her life as a refugee and you know, where they stayed along the way, when they arrived, how they were treated in America. I read A Girl Called Kosovo back in April and it gave me similar feelings. This one, because it's a middle grade, was less harsh, but it still gave you all the feelings of that's not right how they were treated, and because it's told from the perspective of the little girl, it feels gentler, but you could still feel her heartache at how she was treated in school and how she saw her family treated and having to leave where she lived. So yeah, I think every child should be encouraged to read this because it's very special and I'm so glad I read it, which is why I'm going to continue with the recommendation service even though I'm really behind on what they've suggested to me. I'm due another set in November, so yeah, I know that it can happen that a book can shock you, because I wouldn't have thought, oh, that's going to be 5 star, but it really was, and I loved it. But another one that I think could shock, well, not shock me, and become a favourite, but Middlegate Monthly, I've been taking part in that, and I've found some great books that I really love through that. My favourite so far was Orion Lost by Alistair Chisholm. That's a book that I'm really not into reading about space. Space actually freaks me out. But I thought I'd give it a go, and I loved it, and it was one of my favourites for this year. So when I say it could be my favourite, I could find my favourite this way, yeah, but it wouldn't shock me because Jade and Gav have recommended some books that I've really enjoyed, so it wouldn't be such a shock. But the next one that I need to read is The Uncommoners by Jennifer Bell. I did read Wonderscape. I don't know if I give that 3 or 4 stars. I did like it. It was just missing something for me. Sometimes I've thought that a book's going to be really great because, for instance, that one kind of gave me Jumanji feels. I think I was a bit disappointed because it fell short. So I'm hoping, I did like her writing style, so I'll still like this one. So I'm suggesting that this could be a 5-star, but we'll wait and see. The last question is, do I have any reading plans for 2021? I do indeed. Well, it's more like channel based really. I want to do more joint ventures with other channels. I have got something coming up in February that I'm really excited about, that somebody's suggested and kindly said I can join in with it. I'm not going to say any more because, like I said, it's February next year, so I'm assuming we'll all do announcement videos and things about it, so that's exciting. But I'd like to do more of things like that, joining up with people on their channels and people joining in on things that I do. I'd like to do more buddy reads. I've got one planned for December with Chloe and Connor. I'll link their channels below. That will be my first experience of planning out how much we're going to read each day and discussing it that way. So I will see if I like it. If I do, then I'll want to do more buddy reads. For my Scrabble TBR game, I'm going to carry on with that. But I've decided that maybe around 6 months' time, I am going to have a month of Scrabble TBR where I read books that I have not completed in the months that I was meant to. So I think Andy was trying to help me come up with a name, and he come up with something about books that I missed are on the list, but he didn't say that, and now we can't remember what we said. So there will be a title for it, but every 6 months I'm going to do that so that my TBR is of the books that I've missed out. So it's kind of a punishment, but some of them might just be ones that I really wanted to read but didn't get around to, so it'll make sure I read the ones that I missed out. However, I think if I don't read them in that month that I've given them a second chance of, then I should just unhaul them, because it would suggest that I'm never going to get around to reading them. So there's that, and then I thought of something else then, and now I can't think what. Reading plans for 2021, and it's gone. It came to me while I was thinking then, and it's gone. I don't think it's coming. No, it's not. So yeah, continuing with my TBR, I do want to intermingle some months where I do stuff for myself. So next month is going to be, well, I might as well announce it here now, it's going to be Scrabble and Steph. Steph Loves is picked my 4 books. She's sent those through to me, so she is picking those for that month. My January TBR game is going to be Scrabble and Scrabble Twin, and Cat from Kaz from, I'll link a channel below, and I have it before I come on and then it just goes out my brain. I really need to write it down. So Kaz is picking my January books. February I'm doing Scrabble and Self-Care, and I am going to pick the books myself. I was still pulling out the Scrabble letters, but I'm going to pick the 4 books for that month, and I will still do a Twitter poll as well. I know my sister is going to do one. I know that Mel from a book fiend named Mel has said that she would like to do it and be my Scrabble and Southern Hemisphere friend. So I've got that one. And then Sophie, my little girl, we don't put her on social media or anything like that. But I said to her that she could pick the books for me. And she said she didn't want to, so I said that's fine. And then she started noticing people doing it for me and got a bit more intrigued, and then decided that she did want to, especially when she saw that the cat has come on my camera before now on my videos. And she said she wants to do it. We still won't be putting her on social media. However, if she does want to do that, I might have her sat off camera and you can hear her voice and she can just tell you which book she's picked and why. So yeah, that's where it's going for Scrabble TBR, and I'm going to keep going with that as long as I enjoy it. Like I said, I think I am going to have to intersperse some months where I just pick myself, and because sometimes I'm feeling under pressure to get things read and I don't want reading to become a chore and that I end up in a reading slump. So yeah, and again, I want Eurovisionathon this year to be better, next year to be better than it's been this year. I just want to improve each year on that. This year was my first go at it. It went really well for what it was. I wasn't on Booktube then, so I'd literally just did it through Twitter. Didn't have much of a following anyway, so the people that did take part, I was amazed. This year, I'm hoping it'll be a bit more professional. It's not the right word, but a bit more to it. It's got its own Twitter page this time, which it didn't have before. And I'm hoping to come up with some kind of prompt sheet that people can use. So yeah, even if the same people that took part last year who enjoyed it take part this year, it's a bonus, and I can run it through the channel as well. So yeah, hoping to make that better this year. Next year, because it runs April to May, and this year's been so weird. I keep saying last year, but it's not as this year. So yeah, keep your eyes posted for that. So there are the plans for the rest of the year and next year. So I hope this wasn't too drony, but I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Chloe. And if you want to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. Some of the people who I would have tagged have already done it, hence Mel did it and Chloe did it. So yeah, tag yourself and do it. I will speak to you soon. Bye.